It's 10 o'clock.
Okay, we're going to say the prayer. If you have a recitation book, we will start from page number 10. We will say in Tibetan 2 times, and afterward we will say in English 1 time. In English, I take refuge in the Guru, I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha. From now until my enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And by the merit created in this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, feel bias, attachment, and anger. This ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, Mount Meru, circled by the four continents, surmounted by the sun and the moon, I visualize this Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy the pure land. Idam Guru Rana Medala Kameya Daya.
야, 다 정말 sabdras lishio tene tamatene ngadu dare tone gomjamaji.
Good morning to you all. Thank you for coming. And now let's go start our today's session with meditation. Meditation on Aryantara.
Dore so ha yewa di nyedo da jizan ro ma de ro wa ji jang ma le wa di sa la
wo bar sho sam chen na ba
jin ye ba ni de na le da ji ji gu ye ne ne ma do ba
ta de shong wa me bar sho ba na de da da ba da
sa ma di jo ro ro sho han ro sen bo la so yin je sen da de je ju
yo mo de
le
la
chen de le ni me ho yang de la
现
现
在
在道
道德
德的
的老辈
滚就圣洁扎西说。
呀，他刚才的妈妈听的录了，他你话龙珠动画去，他人把动画当过李当龙珠，他那种李当啊的了呀，就神经的等这种逻辑一定个切的动画的，他当的电话都说的龙珠动画，你话龙珠动画真的是。刚拉动物一南几人把呢，俺人下了，但刚那些不是把那些人说的。人家龙珠是给你们你看说，用用说知道，真都把他们这有人的龙珠的这的相对的南了，有人是的俺人单位，这到这里，这里讲几吨当几吨零地位。龙珠三级没去把中的电南江左边上手托比一做下到到中的上级的三级七级的话等等不沙漠拉玛等上级中等的南级有人的龙珠南吧后来推进了上面比的话卡不真冲味三把呢还是诺子我的都是龙珠啊。
Please go to your copy of translation on page 68. The subhead says giving away possessions. Those to whom we should give are in the same order as before. Therefore, all our possessions, such as food, clothing, dwellings, companions, servants, and so forth, in forms that fulfill all wishes. Imagine that extensively satisfy the needs of beings in all the world, creates mundane and transcendental wealth, which creates the cause for accomplishing the fully awakened states, and after attaining enlightenment, their minds obtain the bliss of the perfect body of truth. As before, we subsequently offer wish-fulfilling wealth to the spiritual masters and Buddhas, imagining that a special uncontaminated bliss is born in their mind streams.
俺的做干是我是那个做李龙做当用说的李龙做我说俺们的等日子嘛吧，上面给李龙做呗，做他们把这个真的什么样的，我的真的呢，这了就批你张没把他也话中的中华电他们这样的，甚至他们这个那特别刚造的他们这来气质被天津之松的，你这边气的啦那就。日本사람이 또 봐 이게 라 기용하다. 아니 야 군조라 초바 성이 등진의 성지에 봐 대탐절라 포이 디탐지기라 사미기 대와 섬기 맞지 봐 통네. 어떻게 대전에 오고마이나. 아니 다 파파 근데 종이 초진 진이 시에 등나오는 배 당고 지리 저 타바 저리 야 타바 야리 종 타바 동지 쳐 타바 들리 이제 상탐지 강송냠비 어떻지니 롱주 저떤 가지고 롱주세 때 니월던 가지고 고아지데 롱주 때 만템비 쇼라송나 롱주 듣자요 롱주 그때라 때 노인기 쇼송네 그때 맞더니 코라 코시지 지찬로 때 많이 봐 아니 때 롱주 발라 때니 때 삼지 타와당 탐지 준비 진로 에너지 삼네 좀 받은 요 삼는 거 그렇지.
Okay, so we are, our topic still is the generosity or the practice of the perfection of generosity. And in this particular topic, or under this particular subject matter, we have discussed about how to offer our body. We have discussed that process of practice in meditation before. And today, now we are going to discuss about how you give giving away possessions, meaning that whatever you own, you possess, you earn, or you're entitled to give, able to give. So and take all of them as the object of again, the object of a donation and the object of offerings, or some kind of sacrifice. So meaning that you give away instead of holding, keeping, and try to own it and like internally. So here, and when we think about giving in our give whatever we possess in our meditation, and we need to think about this meditative practice is aimed to transform our understanding, the value, and our attitude towards anything that we think we own it. We earn, or we own our positions, basically. So, in our meditative practice, we need to think of that everything we're possessing, that we're taking them mentally and or picturing them in our mind, and then think that those objects are not ordinary substance, but rather they are uncontaminated. They are in the purest form, the most sort of like a food in the nutritionist way form, and in the best quality and the highest valuable sort of, and then that's. Well, yeah, we need to think about the qualities in such a way, meaning that basically just think that everything you possessing, and you're going to take it to make use it as an object of offering, and all the donation and donating, and I think that they are in the purest. And this is the quality with respect to the quality of object of the offering. Now, with respect to the quantities of the offering, and not just thinking something that you think that you own it with some kind of limitations, but rather to think that those objects are multiplied, so they're limitless and countless. So in terms of number, there's no way you can measure it. So this way, and the quality, the quantities of the object of offering you're going to be making in your meditative practice of generosity is limitless. And so now, when you think of that again, by donating to or make some kind of sacrificing to as object of sacrificing, and give it to the sentient beings who need it. They're longing for, and so they are the ones who is being the suffered because lack of the material things or anything that that you can imagine, and then so in your meditation, this practice of generosity, and at the end, towards the end of this giving process, and in your mind, so the action of your generosity has been done, and by receiving the possessions which you have in its purest form and in the limitless numbers, and all of them are now enjoying the greatest the sense of bliss, and which is in the great satisfaction and the purest form, and also thinking that by receiving what you give into them, now they are they use it. Now they take in and use whatever you give into them, and as a supply, as the necessity, and or the supportive, the rich resource. Now they can use it to use it for the enhancement, or to use it for the purpose of their spiritual, and further, which made them easier now and being supported, and so therefore they can make a progress and levels of their bhumis and the path to enlightenment, and it's easier and faster. And then the realize which help them, and ultimately, and be able to achieve the realizations of the nature of reality. And so now you turn your attention to take it as whatever you're possessing, or your own possessions, and give it to the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, of the 3 times 10 directions, and again think that by making this offering, just like the Bodhisattva Sammadabhadra, who made this offering, it's limitless and it's purest form, and so all the Buddhas are delighted and also rejoice in your great deeds of generosity, and in return, and you and all the beings are be able to experience the great bliss of the truth body of the Buddha, which is the state of enlightenment, and so that's the essence of the make offering to those enlightened beings. And here, one thing we needed to understand is we do need the material things. We need some form of possessions, but we always have to remember the reason we want to earn something and own something, and we want to possess in something, is because we have a clear goal and has a clear purpose, that is for our spiritual enlightenment. Otherwise, if you forgot this very purpose of to own any material possessions, of possessing anything, if you forgot this very the purpose, then whatever you own it, you earn and you own and you possessing, actually most likely and will going to against you, because this will create attachment and further then make you spiritually and it's not aware of or not aimed to do anything, but rather you want to increase in the material wealth, and you wanted to increasing the values and the qualities quantities of your material possessions. You might create a negative karma, and consequently you will be further bound up to the samsara. So therefore, having material possession generally and without a purpose, without clear purpose, and then of a spiritual realization, a spiritual enlightenment, it's not necessarily a good thing.
다 스바 게짜땅와 게짜땅와는 리 롱줄 마르진 남 땅때메비 데프터위나 마옹원은 종르지와 남 땅와인라 기완 디 심기 디와 탐칠 땅 롱데 디위 기위 사문 남땅 워처 동수 요바 다타와 땅 마옹와나 성기 마토비 워드 기와 탐칠 땅월 샤데 존지리 기와 디심 기와남 셈진긴기 돈접실 공화메버 땅월 샤 시당 토콘드 접기 기완디 기우근 소놈 이시 초조 서데 소놈 이시 리종이 담바근이 토버쇼 시당 소놈 남카졸리경 덕기 기위 싸와 긍지와 때 탐ችን 니어초와 먼저월 마저치 시 송아 탐ችን 게짜 땅 위치를 나지 대형 게짜 총아 등로라시 청 지기심바 따오 암영 쇼라 송위 예와 타조 난가 점영 연친 상심지 세머를 모치 예라 개와라 소비 요 dob치와 탐칠정 공드 셰비 생기 른바 데떡라 마청와메 버릴 땅위 일 데떡 탐칠 세 대년라 성기 원숨드 셰위 예친 촉바 통화를 레리 일 촌이 탈신이 성기니 샘지 치크 대와 땅 담버 사모스 데떡 땅위 삼바 정 다존 총호영 니스 동화 다 거스기르와 lazangi 시와리 송라 데터네 동심 종성 곰버시나 곰바 나트 페비 랑기 리라 속바 예스 동화라 가와지영 메브린 저데 당연지 겨울리 저터 몽트마 떡바 텔라 네위 똑바 데터네 데브진 데네 텔라 셈숑 시당 폭바 바우샤니 잼픈 릴라 트메경 디 삼바 담버샤 강라 데네 유저와 데네 데라 데네 돈기 식시 등 차가와 쳔비샤니 스스지치 남도 줄 랍든라소 괴다망 시등 게르블리경 토성 티슴 예스 템바롱 럭금 텐드 조바 잠지경 남바근드 로아 펜바는 내땅담바 떡드 겨르지 시땅 지다더니 마치 로즈가 대로 지던도 사라지고 지방고도 사라지나요. 그것도 심진 탐지 써봐도 당연히.
So giving away virtues. Now we're going to talk about how we should practice and giving away. I'll take the virtues that we accumulate as an object offering or donations. With regard to our bodies and possessions, we can give away what we have and what we will acquire in the future, but not has already ceased to exist. However, the virtues of the past, present, and future are all suitable to be given away. The seeds or potencies of past virtue, as well as those of present and all future virtues, up to the attainment of Buddhahood, can all be given away. The guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life says, all virtues produced in the 3 times should be given away without to accomplish the goal of all sentient beings. The Master Nagarjuna also says, by this virtue may all beings gather the collections of merit and wisdom, and as a result of that merit and wisdom, may they achieve the 2 sublime bodies. Of Kagana Ganja Sutra says, may whatever sources of virtue I have been transformed into sustenance for all sentient beings. All these are ways of giving away virtues from such a weak virtue as the gift of a handful of food to animals and incidental food, good deeds, to such a powerful virtue as a cultivation of the awakening mind. All of them should be dispensed to beings in all the world. As described above, think that they each acquire the complete causes and conditions for attaining enlightenment, and with the perfections of the two collections of merit and wisdom, they awaken to enlightenment, possessing in their mind streams the bliss of the perfect body of truth. Should you wonder what is the use of training in these thoughts of giving, it is that unless you train from now on, later you will be unable to make even the smallest gift, which will be an impediment. The question of Sabadu Sutra says, if you train the mind to give away, if you train the mind to give right away with prolonged familiarity, you will find no difficulty in actually giving away your body and so forth. The king of meditative stabilization sutra says, just as the more you analyze something, your conceptions about it increase. So does your mind become acquainted with it. Aryavira said, however weak is your intention to benefit others, you should always abide by these thoughts. Whoever has such a thought will bring it to fulfillment. The great Chagava said, the more you are acquainted with it, the more you purify conceptions. Take the help of many examples, such as the 7 generations. In birth story, we read, may all my actions, such as seeing, hearing, remembering, touching, or even conversing, be of benefit to beings, and may I always work to give them peace. In this way, by practicing generosity sincerely toward all sentient beings, we can instantly accumulate merit and innumerable as the beings themselves. The precious Garland says,
다 되는 차송 저다라고.
that's all of
너도 매. 단디 가르스나 게차 땅 저땅 짐바 땅나 짐바 땅은 되어지고라. 아무도 미망우가 짐바 땅니 체더가 지다 소소 체년 작세로 영 캡소 잠발라 때디 땅아지 거랬어. 때문에 겨와 심만함 소소 치고 이정한다 때디 섬동 요 말스 게차 땅 jimba tang pa tang ling li long chu ge cha kar tang ya na rongjin tamchi pa tang sa gongzong de la na pan tong de di ren bi long chu bi de la tennis tarwa tang tamchi chi bi gong shang chu xiamyang ji shang ji sim tarwa tang tamchi gong bo to to wa dang di ge cha tan so so rong ni na ji bi paru chi ba zong ni tarwa tang tamchi gong bo to wa den di chet ngo go re sta dor ro di sha na de she wo ge sa da de ne de song ba long dang ne long song ba ru shi lo de so de na ge cha tang yong so 지 당보 첨부 시고 당지 듣고 말해 총종의 더루지라 세창 좀 짜이나 짜와 좀 뒤 개와도 적성 그모 뒤지나 르비르비르비 아니 샘디 야치레치레스 주송로 소소고베 샘라 니톱전 창도 그래 니톱전 총으로 소소 리나 당하라 포함해 봐 찾그레스 대자다 아니 좀 당하라 디섬지 개와 통전 니섬 봐 소소고지 랑진 탐지 개와지 탐지 당하 단다 지진 바타 마음이 종질기에니 어떤 참지 삼로 당에 티와 당 사바동 곰바스기도 티스무 고섬다 데라온다 티와도 잡바동 게르빌리 통등 티등 잡바동 다 소소 미스 무기 통도 제기 개와 작고데 지시랑 당 지비때 개와 와다 아니 소소랑니 그 지와도 데 지스 잡바 혼 지스 바동 마음 지질 어디서 정말 삼로 당 지네 강 삼바티 탐제 호와즈나마들 다 조선된 거 샘그 근홍직지니 죽고로 된다 짐바 바로 저기 생활 리리지니 tet고 마르티나 뜻지니 때 짐바쯤은 리오텔라 때니 섬지 탐제 원벌소벌 성기 소소당 대화 옆에 소소 짐바 당사 때나 텔라 때니 름비 기위 농수도 푸수 소비 원도 손에서 촌이 사실은 그러니까 촌이 조용서 아니 standard 모델을 복송다 손이 조아데 가르자 손이 탈신 바데 가르즈나 개와디 기우고 소놈이 시 초족성데 소놈도 이시 손이 조나 가르 소놈이 시 초족라 담바케니 토버소스 담바케니 우테나 즈크당 체크니 우더라 어떤이 토버 쳇데 모고레스 노르디셔나 들어라 어떤지 다른 좀
Take your body as the object of offering and the anything that you possessing. Again, is kind of is easy to is kind of involved with some kind of forms and a substantiality. But here, the giving away, the practice of generosity is the object is the virtues. So the virtues is is anything that you have done and you dedicated. So as a result of your the action and the positive action, such as generosity. So and then anything that the positive actions that you have committed or you fulfill, you completed, and has its consequences or its outcome. So now, in the case of generosity, we are going to take the virtues, the outcome, the result of our virtuous action, which is a virtue. And but here we talk about generosity. So you did practice generosity. You made an offering, or to the all the enlightened ones and noble beings, and you donating everything and to the ones for needs, to the needies, and all those are that very action of generosity or giving produces the result. That result is a virtue. So now we are taking this outcome, the actions of positive positive deeds, that is a virtue. And now what you do is that in this particular practice, our attitude or understanding of generosity, and in terms of how to give it the result, and must be very spiritual, meaning that commit the good actions, have this attitude or have this expectation in our mind. Either we are aimed to get something in return in this very lifetime, for example, good name, right, and or get some more profit, by that very action of generosity and wishing and have the expectation that we can get more than what we have given to or donated to, right, or offered. And so we always have this hoping and some kind of expectations that attach to the result or a very action of generosity, which of course is not the form of and that is not what here the text is suggested. And text the practice of generosity here is suggested by the author is not only or not supposed to attach to the outcome and for this lifetime involved with the benefits of this lifetime. Even you should not and consider about the outcomes for the life after life after death, because there are people who do the generosity, practice generosity, and then what goes around and comes around. So they believe it, and then they make donations or make offering, and then they think, I will do it because next lifetime or life after death, I will be rich and I will be a wealthy, have a wealthy life. So this is again is and because you're not really dedicated to the outcomes of your virtuous action and to the ultimate, something's ultimately matter. But rather you are attached to still in the samsaric, it's a profound fame, it's a worldly thing. But the real generosity of the virtue, giving away the outcomes of your positive action, and the result of your positive action is that you aim to give to those people and helping them assist as something as supportive conditions, created supportive conditions for them, and then they can pursue in the liberation, a state of liberation, and ultimately and to attain the Buddhahood. So that's the should be the attitude and the goal of the practice of generosity of virtue. And one of the things is that as text suggested, that our practice generosity must done very skillfully and done very wisely, meaning that at the beginning, if you feel or when you encourage others to practice generosity, when they feel that's so hard, they don't see the value or the meaning, and or that has just had so much attachment to and what they haven't done, and for the benefits for others, you must you as practitioner and the others also have to start this practice generosity by doing little, giving a little, and the things that have anything that you have a less attachment or feels easy to give. So if you start with a little, and then, for example, like give a portion, a handful of food to the animals, right? And then give the things which others need, and best upon you according to the abilities of your mind or the strength of or desires of the you giving away mind. So at the beginning, you might not have that giving away mind. The mind of giving away is not that forceful and pure and complete. But you can start with something as small, and then think about what you have done in the past and present and the future. And so mentally you train yourself and to open to that very action of give away. so more skillfully, you can also think of that whatever you have heard, you don't, right? Whatever you did in the past, the present, and you will do, and mentally give it to the others, make offerings, and further, just like the Nagarjuna suggested. So even you you hear people did some great practice of generosity, and they've been very successful and have done. So, and you also by rejoice what they have done, and or by remember what you have did in the past, and you have done that you have doing the present. So all them and you bring in into your mind, and then with the pure motivation, and then give all them to others in mind, because we know that we can't really give everything to everyone and make them happy all the time. And the reason is not just that we are lack of the resources, but rather our mind is not been trained in a way and it's ready and to give. So therefore, this training of the practice of generosity, with respect of the virtues that you accumulated, like Nagarjuna said, you trained and this way and aimed to accomplish the two collections, the perfection of the two collections, the two collections of the merits, which is so it's a supportive and enjoyable and the qualities and the things that involved with the qualities of enjoyment and the supportive and the favorable conditions. And then another is the collections of wisdom. So wisdom is the realization and is wisdom that realize the ultimate reality. So so this is in return ultimately were transformed into the sublime state of spiritual achievement, that is the form body of the Buddha and the truth body of the Buddha.
Oh yeah, that the semchin thamchilla samathak pe tangwi yil sem chin jingil pa tenyil ki ngini sonam ki chopa de me pa delag de zote rinji thawali tek zope sonam kang kati ten zig chin kirs nam ki khamne kin kangte ten tewi thak par kirs dona jomden de ki song ani den chik chang na dana nang semchin khamne chame ba phayun chang de dawo shiso Dertar samba thakpani semchin thamchilla tangwi siki so long chulpi chi jampin ki samba chinyi chigla rongla sepa long chuna nyomo chen ki tongwa tang janla sepa mechang jampin ki samba zona nyomo chen mayin bi tongwa songshang janla ngwa wa mandruwa nga shigna shishang rigni dakki sha 위치 랑톤트 쿠슴 조티 른탕 청와 소터기 판바 종을 탑딜이 송소지 오나 대덕 상습 생구이 농조비치 저트샤 냠나지네 샘진기 돈트 ngô 냠비 삼비 장나 니와메도지 탑딜이 덕포탕의 지위 농출 남기 덕포탕 지위 리송니스 삼나 쇼바 니와메데 전 따드 지우 리셰바 경기 소아 덕기 제와 시당 데르트 삼니 잔나 호정 쪼비랑기 농초나 용오 메버 메토 또 냠나 데는 마인데 디닐리 저스터 쪼비 상치 세프리 타든 가시기 데 코나닐 데 코나 머리버 마트파 샤와 머리때 똥위 샘 몸처치우 주전의 용스 시위실 때 첫때는 가식기는 기좀 샤워 머리소 스타트 조소야.
By practicing generosity sincerely toward all sentient beings, we can instantly accumulate merits and innumerable as the beings themselves. In Precious Garland says, if the merits of speaking thus could be given physical form, it would completely fill the whole of space and even overflow that. This was stated by the subduer Buddha and supported by sound reasons. For just as the number of beings is beyond the limits, so is the intention to benefit them. When we use the food, clothes, and so on that we have sincerely dedicated to others, if we forgot the welfare of others and use them with attachment to ourselves, it is a deluded downfall. If it is done free from such an attachment, but forgot of others' interests, it is undiluted downfall. If we have dedicated a certain thing to someone else who knows it and has taken possession of that thing, and then motivated by self-interest and an intention to steal, you make use of that thing. This qualifies as stealing and is a breach of the vows of individual, and is the breach. I'm sorry, is a breach of the vows of individual emancipation. As the compendium of training makes clear, we should examine how a bodhisattva should behave when he makes use of such things. If we make use of something with the intention of working for sentient beings, there will be no moral fault. The compendium holds, if you think, I shall use this with intentions of protecting both the possessions and their honors. This is similar to the case of a slave who always in the service of his master has no belonging to his own. He might think that it is a fertile dedicate your possessions to others since you are using them yourself. This is not so. The above text says, some who have not realized suchness lost faith in bodhisattvas who practice in this way. This is unreasonable because bodhisattvas have a thought realization of the magnificent thoughts of giving. It is therefore inappropriate for others to have a doubt about how they behave.
어래. 다데 가르스나 가도 리 롱초 탐지 샘지나 땅 삼바이나 소수 샘비 땅 상소나다 아니 소수 롱초 바이나 아니 데라 스파치니 롱초 바이나 동안 정글 스피나 길롱로즈기나 데 정글에서이나 아니 데라 스파 메비 고 롱초나라 지위 카나마토바 정글에 데나다 가르치 정글에다 아니 동인도 샘진 탐지 그 돈데 롱초고요 삼로 돈데 샘지 탐지가 돈데 롱초와데 쪽고요 요마 펜바 정글 샘지 탐지 그 돈데 오나 샘지 탐지 그 장난 냠비 소소라 파윤용 정고로서 소놈 소조고 대자다 아니 또배 전화지 그러다 그 아니 근데 여우고 욕보지요나 여우 욕보득이 딱 여우고 롱초도 롱초고요 롱초한테 그런 배 개뚱 컨디션 롱초고 막 여우도 송집지하던 디기 쳇 롱초고요자 아니 콜라티 톱자도 톱고요 그래서 때 나전 어느 저런 젠돈 기사비 끝내랑이 다 샘지 농고선비 뭐 때강타 담지 롱초바이나 그런 라티 톱고요 그래서 때 아주 톱당도 요래 또 노르지다 뜻이 걸라
The essence of here, the practice of generosity, and is that essentially, so we need to be aware of the something that's the detailed in the very detailed level or in the subtle level, meaning that so in your meditation of generosity, you made this giving away practice. In other words, so you dedicated whatever you have, such as your body and anything you possess, right? Once you give away, that's become others, right? And it's no longer yours. So then here is at a subtle level, or the details concerning its practice in the detail level. That is, even though you gave away, right, and you knew that you dedicated, it's no longer yours, but you still can use it. You use it because the very reason, the purpose you're given is that you want to benefit others, right? Now, so when you use it, you're very clear, and you clearly know and or remember that the very reason you used it is for the benefits of others, not for yourself, because you gave it away already. If you forgot this, right, in your meditation, you dedicated, you give it away, but when you use it, you have this you have attachment to it, right? And then you feel that there's some kind of possessions, right? And or belongings, your entitlement, sort of you're entitled to it. Then, if you are a fully ordained monastical clergyman, meaning like a bhikkhu, if you're a bhikkhu, and after you've given the things you belong to, it belongs to you, and then you have attachment, it could broken the well. It's kind of the transgression, form of a transgression. So, but Bodhisattvas are unlike that. The Bodhisattvas who was the very first goal or the first thoughts, and throughout the entire practice of process of practice, he or she is only the view, see, and then the things and the benefits of others. Since there is no self, there's no attachment to the individuality or the individuality's benefits and interest. So therefore, and then whatever they use it and they possess, and in fact, there's no such attachment involved, so therefore there's no downfalls, or there's no faults, no nothing wrong with it. However, so whoever have after giving the dedication and still have the attachment, then that is considered a form of transgression. Is wrongdoing, and in the subtle, most detailed level and the practice. So again, here is the key. The key point is for the benefits of others. So then you can use it. You can you are entitled because you've been sort of do so. You have for the sake of the highest goal. Yes, you are entitled or authorized to use and is being and giving. This is like suppose that you are the minister and of like the king or the queen, whoever the highest the authoritative figure who appoints you as a minister or working for him, a servant. Serviceman, whoever is working for that power holder, the ultimate power holder person. So once he hired you, and give you the power to use it, and then so that everything you do is not considered to be broken the law or the rules. Why? Because you have the authority, you've been authorized to do so. So, this example, meaning that you are aimed to benefit all sentient beings, and so, and therefore, and keep this in mind, in your mind, and keep doing, taking action, follow this very mindset, right? And do everything whatever you can, and use the resources, and only merely for the sake of all sentient beings, then all you done, all you kind of being authorized to use will be purely a virtue, and will lead you to the attainment of the enlightenment.
Oh yeah, that is 준비 또 차송다 다 로사회 능력 가지고 다 영지 검통 그런 받는 망고 주는 거요. 대자 때나 저와도 가르치세요.
So this completes the practice of the subject matter of the generosity or giving away, and so I'm going to end here and to close our discussion of 2020. And then next year, we'll start the new year. I'm going to start with the subject matter called meditation on compassion. So now we have some time, and do you have any questions for me, please?
처음에나 저죠 우리 같이 가시겠지. 저 요나 좋았지.
이거 회사다 그거 빨라면 나중에 있어.
너 좋나.
정말로.
오야. 저다네 저당 다 짐바트의 그쳐마가 요래. 짐바땅의 제땅. 짐바땅의 일땅. 어때라 some shaky mongo yor de da chi karsa na jimba tang je de la ne je yong ma to pa pena de she go ne pena nya sa li che jimba tang na nya sa be so so bi de ba jong go re che la jimba tang la jimba ko to go ja yor wa de to zo ne magi wi le ki ta gewa de wa sam na tin ju ki o mar se ne ani jimba tang sa go so so long chu yo 롱초 때라테니 밑에 지금 홀란도서 덴델라 당 런거 말이 때 소소 체진 두고 강터를 소소 당위 모데 소소랑이라 원하지만 또 미지기 때문에 고마 잡는 전직라 뺐다나 대영 이거 말 그래서 소소라 원이 모데니 이제는 뭐니 판도 요사지라 전이 판도 요비 리오텔라 때니 미티티비나 비나 당성다 도만라지기나 로지기나 미티기 도중진이 그런 거 멋진 들름네 정도만 답변은 오이닐리 다당 가지고 다 다뤄던 좀 집이 공방 마실래 제날 좀바 당하데 저 조가 당고를 좀바 당사때 소소라 오이 오지 좀바 당사때라 파 마노라지 당주때 같이 모르지라 로지나 로지한테 노래나 미티 미치 톨라 당도 같이 무드 팅진스마 동가 기든도요 대자 리파트 강당강진나 단데 준비 차도 정말 그 간도를 가져이나 년지기 찬이 로고요 대자다 뒤 냠때 좀 셰럽당 지원 로고 셰럽당 탑신이 존지지로나 데모드 데라파나 데라 판도용 거들 데치나 코 드리지 판도용 거들 데르 뭐파 드리지 판도용 거들 다다다다 솔로 삼노 셰럽 그 조당지 이거니 로지 탐나 요거요르지라 데베까지 뭐 토마토양 아주 짐바당 거르진 참아 미뭐 까지네레 미 참아 장마 쇼네다 베나 홈 참아 홈레스 차데 레가마치다나 마랑조 랑진 탐질레 경 차로를 마토 두고 말이야 그블라이나레 머리 강레 경로때 진영가 말에 파쇼텔라 펜토아지 데 미델라 로제나 미티 니완도 답베나 미자 냠타 정도 티네 창도 하고니 뜻들이야 겹니 때 그런 같이 니완도 가르지 용들 때 삼도 땅에 마노라지니 제바땅 토에나 콜라 로지 토에나 티 미티 멋지 판토로 소소랑 그 오다한테 판토 전에는 팬마 독서도 당연히 배는 작박만로 되는지 지게 로제나 기티 로지 콜라지 판심진 로제도 코팅 못 롱추진이 손 미점바 모두 치와진 노바지 손 소소 때 팬마 도착할 때 진짜 때도 만노라지니 당고래지 어떤 게다 먹거지나 뭐 저와식이요 다나가도 다다 간에 리 롱추 노리 롱추 판소소 탐지 당 짐바 당당 그 바스 차성진 로를 다 있다 짐바 당알 당 만노라지
Maybe, while you are forming questions, something in addition to what we have talked about the generosity and here, and I would like to share a few detailed some kind of generally you need to be aware of a knowledge and concerning the practice of generosity. So here, generosity is action, and the action has to have some kind of material goods, or some kind of substantial objects that you can, as an expression of your generosity, right? So, which involve the material, something substantial. And then your practice has to have objects. It could be an individual person, it could be organization, and could be a much greater, large institutions, and so on and so forth. So meaning that beings of there. And then a practitioner of the generosity. So the person who practices generosity and the forms of the substance or the material goods that practitioner is going to use, and the objects and the person going to bring the goods and up onto or give to. So those three things are there, and they make this because the generosity involved is such a complex and the other aspects of this very action of generosity. So therefore, we need to be mindful and be careful with our a dog and a side of the road seems very hungry, and then you go to the river and or a creek nearby and catch a fish, and then you kill the fish and give the dog. And although the dog has got a sort of his stomach is a free dog from the hanger, and right, and his stomach is stuffed. but you killed the fish, right? And so even though your action kind of seemingly good, but because you kill one and then fulfill to feel the needs of others, and that very action is not generosity, or is not the form of generosity which we talk about here. So, and then secondly, we also need to think about the object of offering. The other than the object offering, we also need to think about the person, the object that's as a person you give into, or the institution, organization, whoever, as the individual person. You must, prior to decide to give them, such as like we talked about, giving the body, giving the positions, giving whatever you own it, or you are entitled to, or you have the you have the power to give away. But you must think, and the object, you have to study or be careful with the very object that you're going to express your the generosity, your mind of generosity. For instance, like you knew that person is drug addicted or alcoholic, right? And but looks miserable. And in that particular case, and you should not give the money or help them and as they wanted, because that meaning that you're going to help that person in fact, you're going to, if you give money to alcoholics, and he or she might be used to drink and or for the drugs, which of course ultimately is not helpful at all. And so, and another thing that we need to remember is we give the things to others. So as a practice generosity, we must make sure we are 100% entitled to that very material thing. In other words, we are the owner ourselves. We own it. We have the power and can fully or solely decided by ourselves. Then we can give away. Otherwise, again, even though you give the things to others, but instead of accumulated the merits or the considered to be virtuous action, it probably is a negative action. Why? Because you're not fully entitled to make the decision, give that thing away to others. And so other is like for example, you donate money to for the school students or the schools. You have to know their project, right? What is going to teach, what kind of outcomes and what that very program or project is going to lead to, right? And we need to help others. And generosity, in fact, is the expressions of kindness or compassion, right? Whoever practices generosity, that shows that that person has a compassion and or is compassionate. And but just have the compassion, right? And then give the things away. It could may not necessarily always will doing the right thing. Even though you're compassionate, but you may by fail to identify or recognize or understand the very person you're going to give or donating or give the things, a person or organizations, and without apply the wisdom and consider the appropriate. I think that consider that it is a questioning yourself whether that is whether that very action of help is going to produce the positive, right, and beneficial outcome for others. If you fail to consider this, meaning that you fail to apply the wisdoms and be mindful and just follow your instincts and or the compassion, be a compassionate, and then instead of help, you probably will create more problems. So, for example, there are people who constantly feeding the homeless, right, or the people on the street, which probably, and generally speaking, is kind of good. But ultimately speaking, instead of by giving those people and make them stay on the street and continue to be homeless, and if you find a way and giving your donations and to the organization or so help them to organize those homeless people, or give them an opportunity to learn skills and have a proper and able to correct their behavior and able them to take a formal job, and that is country. We also can have to be very wise when we giving the things to others. We must make sure going to misuse it or use the fell in the wrong person, and then created instead of created something positive, beneficial, and maybe and our donation as country or as individual, as organization could create a more disaster. So therefore, that is again, generosity is not a simple thing. It has to be very carefully done. And our goal is to or the organization, community, or the other nation them from their difficult conditions. But when you help, you have to be very careful, make sure, and your good heart and reach the and so that's what all I want to say. And practice generosity is crucial, but how to practice it, right? And that has to be very carefully and practiced.
Oh yeah, that ngoma ki pok katak lorji zor katak te ne jimbi phain da malaria dong namtra te ne ko pe yong zo ka pang ne dong zo dong wang sha choma pe ne ni chola ne ni da da chi de ta ma ni ma ki da ko arma ta da ma lo yong sa sa la chi ra ne da ko pe kyo cha da dong san ne ko ma lorji ne short son ne ko pe malaria pango te ga pango zo so se ke te chi gyo mar se pa so so ga nam shu pe chu ta ne chi go re se te chi na nor so re se
Awesome. Yes. So here I have a funny story to share with you, and it's a true story. It happened in Tibet, and it's not a long time ago. It's not a long time ago. It's the most recent story. One of the Tibetan aristocracy, a noble, a family from a noble, it sounds like a higher level of government officials is a part of the aristocracy society. So he read the Milarepa, the great yogi of Tibet. Milarepa's life story, a biography. He was so inspired by Milarepa's determination and university, and ultimately the renunciation. So then he gave his property and his land away, his personal belongings, and everything he gave away. And then he went to the retreat in the mountainside, and to begin and doing like what Milarepa did, persisting on nothing and just practice meditation and do the Dharma practice. But after a while, of course, he's not 100% ready, and he was not properly trained then. And he began to experience the tremendous sufferings due to lack of proper support. And then he failed to continue his practice in the mountain and his meditation in the mountainside, and then he returned to the Lhasa, where he was originally come from. And then, so he of course owns nothing, and all his former colleagues and friends and families look down at him and laugh at him. And then somebody asked him, saying, "Hey, what's wrong with you? What happened to you? You look like miserable." He says, "That's all I'm today look like now. All this I blame on that beggar Milarepa. Because of the beggar Milarepa, he made me now as a beggar." So yes, the lessons we need to learn is that practice generosity is a great thing, but we have to use the wisdom and carefully consider our own actions and behaviors. So let's practice the Lamrim prayers.
Lo me ma re ge don do nam zhe jia wei wang bo da zhi ma song bi zi ro gen de jiang de yang ji zi wei ji zong dang de ren ba gen sang nang ji shuo nie ne zhe bei yan nang ye xi shuo rang ye zhe yin do bei lang yi shi zhao zi wei zhang wei tang ye zhou wei ye ji men ba san xi ya wei dang ba ye rang zhen zhe ba ren chen zhou wei ma jiu qiao jiang niang ber zhi wei shou de niang ji chen bo yo ro jiu ma an de de sa wer xie ber shou si ji ya wei ma shong zhen wei zhou shang zhou lang ji ren wei zhang tan du nan ji ye la he de shang ya wei za ba rong de zhong zhi lang zong zhe bei de zhen zhe xi shang ga jian si shi me dang me ro gan de ya wei nga ba nam dong lang dang zhe wer ma yi gang zi dang ba qiu lang qi zhu zi zhen zhe la dong ba de yi de de nang ji 扎西洋宗说跟家人藏维喇嘛仁波切当地尼泊尔巴米当局那个只能前波过年之中的歌颂特地念着咱的所上至神主仁波切巴杰巴的吉日吉给我年巴美本样功的功德百文手抗日绕为贵为上纲安当对我忙的容为你将这等真将做这不是的我的单一日记这不把我今儿天把当功德容的得到根基只是道路上给我得到他们这让的我的什么傻逼要我他们这我刚拉出的我发的倒是因为撒网的根中午就是让的我儿子看的用的担保的上也但是结果他们这刚刚上的真跟拉的这人中担保到的也就是在这个跟的要我总卡位，他做新年的是这边的，因为我别那上的年，感觉这样都不儿嘛人去。OK，咱们留呀。